All right, welcome, Songwriters. What this little spiel is how to record a little demo, and yeah, just using the tools I have, mainly using BandLab and the song that you've written. So let's say you've written your song, you got lyrics, you got chords and everything. It's time to record a little demo. So, before we really dive in, I do want to give you one little bit though. Do not expect that this is going to be like radio quality. Everything's going to sound wonderful. That is not going to be true. Demos are just that. They're demonstrations of what a song could be like. Those songs you hear on the radio or on your albums, like, there are people whose jobs are to make music sound that good. There's producers and mixers and masters, and like that's their job. They get paid to do that. You are not currently being paid to do that, but you can start learning the skills that eventually you could. But I want you to be able to get your song into a format that you could share with others. Is like, this is my song idea, and be able to share it. So that's what this is going to do. First thing, setup. When you bring up your BandLab, you want to set it up first before you start pushing record and doing everything. You want to make sure you set your tempo right, you set your keys, your time signature, and your key. And you want to make sure and do a check that make sure the latency isn't too bad, that when you record, it's recording at the beat where it's supposed to. And we'll kind of look at that in just a few moments. All right. So up at the top near these symbols here, this is the setup part. Getting your tempo, your time signature, and your key. Here, usually it's blank what key it is. I knew mine happened to be in B flat major, so I changed it to B flat major. If you know yours is in C major, change it to C major. If you click the little arrow to the right of the metronome, you can tap out your tempo. I usually was like, okay, I'm going to kind of sing my part to myself and tap the beat to it. And then I round it to the nearest 5. It's kind of a nice rounded off number. Definitely want to turn your metronome on. That means the little box with a stick coming out of it is green. You will want to record to the beat. If you're not recording to the beat, it's going to sound bad, and things aren't going to line up well. Especially if you're going to start using loops or you start using MIDI from outside your project, it's going to make a huge difference. We're going to go over checking latency in a little bit, but latency is the issue where you record, and when you play something and the computer receives the signal, it has to code it up and decode it and put it in digital format, and that takes time. With modern computers, usually latency is not bad, but I was actually having problems with BandLab on my computer, and the latency was too bad. I couldn't record on the beat, and it was terrible. So I ended up recording on my iPad, just connecting my microphone and my keyboard via USB. There are adapters for that, and you can do that too, and I got way better results. Things worked. So yeah, if yours isn't working on your Chromebook, see if you can get a device, either a phone or a tablet, and connect that way. So next thing for getting your demo set up is push record and just do a quick run through, kind of an outline of your song. And the point of this is to give you a roadmap of how your song's going to be laid out in your DAW here. You're in BandLab. When you start playing your song, leave yourself a couple measures at the beginning that's just blank, because this gives you room later if you have to move things forward a little bit or later just a little bit. You have a little bit of buffer there. So I waited 4 whole measures. I started on measure 5. You should do something like that. Again, it's to kind of give space in your song at the beginning to move things around. Your quick recording doesn't have to be great, but it does have to be on the beat. Because what you're trying to do with this outline is basically count out how long each part of the song is. So, and I'll show this in the other video, kind of what my song turned out to be. But yeah, you want to be hitting on the beat as you're playing, and as you do that, it counts it out here. And when you start recording other parts individually, you want them to line up on the measures here along the top. And if you're not doing that, things are going to be really difficult, and you won't be able to use like outside MIDI or outside sources, outside loops, because it wouldn't be lined up time-wise. So you want to make sure you do this, and make sure you have an outline of how your song goes. So yeah, after I recorded it, I just put a little split there. If you just put your cursor at the top where you want to split and just push S, or you can right click and push splice or split or whatever it is. You see it got a little, when I did that, it made little divots here. So this first section I knew was kind of the intro part. Then I have my verse here. Then I have a little pre-chorus. And then here's my chorus. And on the end here I have a little post-chorus. So I didn't do a full song, but a verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and a little post-chorus part. Okay. Now we've already gone over how to record MIDI. Plug your keyboard in, or use your keyboard on your computer to record MIDI. And it's very important that you record to the beat. And remember, you can edit things later, which I've done on my little project here, but it's harder to fix individual notes, so you may not want to, do everything, like record it once and call it good and have to go and edit everything. Do it a few times, give it a few takes, and see if you can get it good, and that way you have less editing to do later. Audio. When you hook up a microphone, or perhaps using your built-in microphone, you want to make sure you test your levels before you actually hit record. So play as loud as you're going to play, or sing as loud as you're going to sing. And you want the maximum here to not get past, and not reach the top. You do not want this red flashing bar here when you look at your monitoring, because that means it's clipping and it is too loud. It's okay to record things loud, but you don't want it to be too loud. Audio is really kind of a special thing that the computer, when it converts it to digital, there's only a maximum volume it can handle. And if it's beyond that, it just cuts it off and it's distorted and sounds bad. Record it at a lower volume and then you can bring it up later. But you don't want to be too quiet. You don't want to be right down here in the bottom here at green. You want to be in the yellow-orange for your loudest part that you're going to record. And so, yeah, I just want to kind of show you what mine ended up looking like. And I'll show this in the other video, kind of walking through my own demo. But here's my outline at the top, kind of let me know where the sections were. And I recorded multiple vocal takes. So I got vocal 2, vocal 3, and then I did some acoustic takes with just the acoustic guitar. So I got 2, 3, and then I did another vocal part, and then I added other things. But yeah, it's going to look something like this, right? You don't always have to start from the very beginning when you record a track. You can start in the middle, right before a section that you want to record for, and you can do different pieces. You could do verse on this track, chorus on this track, and then back to verse. But yeah, you have 16 tracks to work with, so yeah, use them. And let's see, editing. Yeah, once you record something, you can edit it and move it around, slice it up. If you have a part that repeats over and over, you can copy and paste it. It's great. Next thing, if you want your track to sound a little bit better, say you're doing vocals, usually vocals, you'll want this. Go select your track and then come down here and click on effects. FX, I don't know what they call that. But then you can click a preset and you can kind of explore your different presets and get a sound you want that sounds pretty good for your vocals. Usually raw vocals don't sound great, but as soon as you throw in some compression, some reverb, things like, it sounds pretty decent. You'll definitely want to make sure there's some sort of compression and reverb on your vocals. And let's see. Yeah, we're not going to have a lot of time for this, but let's go over mixing real quick. Mixing is how the levels of your tracks, like how loud's the drums, how long's the keyboards, how long's the guitar and the vocals. Mixing also includes panning, which is if you're listening in headphones or two speakers, how far left and right it is. It includes effects, it includes automation, there's a lot of stuff. There are people whose job is just to mix things, like not even record or do mastering, like they just mix. And yeah, it's a thing that can take a lot of practice and can be your career if you really get into it. And then here's kind of my steps that I like to go through when creating a mix. Is just pull all the tracks down to 0 volume and then pull up the kind of the main instruments, the drums, the keys, the bass, and guitars, and bring them up so the entire mix sticks at about 75% of maximum. And then I like to give some stereo width to my recordings, so panning left and right, my guitars and keys to get some spread there. And then I bring in the vocals, and I just bring it up, and so the vocals are just loud enough that you can hear them all the way in all the parts, but not so loud that everything else just kind of disappears. So you try to get a good mix there. And then I'll show this to you a little bit on the other video, what having multiple takes of something can do for you in your final mix there. And there you go. So that's kind of the outline of creating your demo. And now I'm going to switch over to showing off my demo, and I'm going to point out all these things that I did so you can have another reference.